My name is Raymond Karchevsky, and I'm living Christ. Today I should like to share with you an article that I wrote. It's titled The Beginning of the Second Coming of Christ Consciousness, and the Ending of Hell on Earth. Today, September 23rd, 2018, was my birthday. I turned 81 today. My mission on Earth is done. I'll be going home after the mission accomplished. You all will give more attention to my offerings on the internet after I have left than when I was with you. Why? Because most of you are wired and programmed for worship and to fall prey to dead entities, myths, and legends, while life passes you by in the moment. All of my work for the past 23 years of public life may be found on internet search engines, and my two websites, arkenterprises.com and lisarayenterprises.com, and my hundreds of videos that you may find on YouTube, Vimeo, BitChute, and Real Video. That is after I'm gone, and if they are not taken down by the satanic government, religions, banks, and corporations that have controlled you all of your life. The previous anonymous government disinformation agents that have plagued, stalked this living Christ in his writings and misdirected public attention away from, or attempted to at least, have now become unmasked. Some of them, a few of them, enough for an FBI investigation to start, with leads that will break loose the rest of the illusion that they have been hiding and that they have been creating and hiding behind for 23 years. You see, these agents have begun to become unmasked. People like Chadwick Stone, Ed Wilkinson, Jamie Eccles, and his new adopted illusion image of Dagwood Tudbury, the same individual. You see, there are many more of these disinformation agents who have been hiding behind masks, aliases throughout the years. You see, they feel that they are secure. They've had this false feeling of security and immunity from prosecution because, as they see it, they are protected by their employer, the government, and they're just doing their jobs. You see, as usual, the satanic forces of Facebook removed all of the dialogue which exposed these traitors of fictional Eccles and Tudbury to the American way. You see, all of the evidence can be found on my websites and videos to bring this satanic way of life dictated to us by our government, religions, bankers, and corporations, and start creating a new way of life, the second coming of Christ consciousness. But as you can see, for many of you, demonic habits are a tough nut to crack. You see, you are used to living a life of illusion, where truth is ignored, and delusions such as words, ideas, and thoughts, concepts, superstitions, fairy tales, and the like, are worshipped as gods that they call Satan. The dualistic consciousness of the intellect, which separates you from one another and perpetuates the violence of crime, exploitation, power, and wars, where life is cheap and expendable. Look about you. That's your life. And you're responsible for allowing it to be your personal construct of a civilized world. You have created it with your consent, in joining and fortifying, in paying your taxes and tithing, all satanic, all illusory. And yet, that is the foundation of most of your lives. You don't know it, but you're all satanic. You're all under mind control. It began when you were children. Now, what's wrong with a world where the institutions of government will not investigate crimes reported for 2 decades to just about every jurisdictional law enforcement agency, from the county sheriff to the district attorney, the state's attorney, the Department of Justice, the governor's office, and to the federal FBI, the Supreme Court, and ultimately several presidents in the White House, including President Trump, the latest. And no one will launch an investigation into the crimes committed by the government and its agents against this living Christ. Ask yourselves, who do such institutions serve? Whom do they owe their allegiance to? Themselves? Or the people who support them with taxes and tithing? Not only will they not investigate, millions of dollars in UCC liens are filed against the government criminals who removed the liens via laws that pertain only to dead persons, even though they found the juristic person, defendant, who shared my name in all capital letters, but released this living man with no charges when he stood at sentencing and refused to accept such sentence by contract or consent for their lack of proof that they had jurisdiction over this living man, despite proof by this living Christ that all the fictional courts, which are run by fictional judges and word-twisting lawyers, only have jurisdiction over fictional dead persons in a fictional world of illusion that are based in words, and they have no jurisdiction or power over any living man or woman who stands in truth. But you folks still don't get it. Well, this living Christ has shown you the way, but your nose-wiping days are over, and you just have to wake up from your own satanic spell and solve your problems of life. This living Christ will not do it for you, even though you are conditioned to rely upon others to do your thinking for you, to make decisions in your life that only you should be making. And that's the normal way of life for you. You live on trust of people that are not trustworthy. Look at your government. It speaks for itself. You see, groupthink will not get you there. You must stand alone. For it, groupthink is based on satanic action of word-twisting satanic legalese. It confuses you. It makes you doubt yourself. It makes you dependent upon people who swindle you, who take your money, but do not provide the security that they have promised. All they do is create more problems in the wake for them to solve, but they never solve them. It's a constant dualistic back and forth of nonsensical words that keep you at the edge of your seats. You are spectators. You are chattel. They own you, body and soul. The fact is, you must stand alone if you are to gain freedom in your life, to regain your soul that you have sold out for security. You see, stand alone. Stand side by side with millions of others, and do not merge into groupthink or create organizations or clubs where the leaders, the few leaders who take positions of power in these groups, begin to do your thinking for you. That's the hell that you have gotten into and that you're trying to break free of, but you're doing it all the wrong way. You are the living man and woman, and you must stand alone and assert your sovereignty over such fictional corporations, products of your own imagination. That's what they are. They're fantasies. They have no power. They have no reality to them other than the fictional reality of illusion. You live in illusion. Your civilized life is an illusion. And when you are faced with the truth brought to you by a living Christ, you get angry because the illusion cannot stand up. You see, you rely upon an illusory organization of your own making, of your own creation, and they turn the tables on you. For then they assert that they are your masters, and you are their slaves by agreeing to be a person created by them in a fictional world created by them. And once you consent to that personage, they own you. They own everything about you. They own your children. They own your home. They own your property. They own everything. And they will dispose of you because you are not a living man any longer. You're a dead person, considered dead at birth. See, that's the swindle that they have conducted as early as your birth, and you have never been free of. Most of you have never known. You're hearing this for the first time from this living man. See. Well, I'm telling you straight out, fictional government and all fictional employees, I'm talking about judges, lawyers, cops, Law enforcers, they are fictional persons who have power and jurisdiction only in a fictional world. They do not have power over a living man and woman who has not consented away his soul by becoming a citizen or a person through birth certification. Now, you are the creators of government, and that which you have created, you can uncreate anytime you want. You can bring down this country anytime you want, peacefully, by boycotting it, by withdrawing your financial support, for you are the only value producers in the world. They're all fictions. They only manage that wealth by confusing you, by making you doubt yourself. Now look at the mess that they have made with the present system, extracting your wealth by your own consent. If you think that I am blowing smoke, I suggest that you reread the Declaration of Independence about dissolving the bonds of government that has enslaved its people. That time is now, even more so than the original revolution. That is what this living Christ suggests. Make your wishes known to President Trump, the CEO of the United States Corporation. It is not a government. You see, he has not responded to the criminal investigation complaints that I have sent him since his inauguration. That's how they operate. They just ignore their duty to investigate crimes. They just cover up their actions merely by force of illusion. You see, the government of Oregon is guilty of covering up the fact that I have sent millions of dollars in UCC liens. And they have withdrawn those liens that they is based on rules that regard only persons. You see, nowhere in their laws, their satanic laws, is mentioned living man or woman. And I happen to be such a living man. You see. So their law, which they're hiding behind, that authorizes them to cover up the liens that I have been sent to them, is itself a violation, a crime, and one that must be investigated. And that's all I'm asking for. Let President Trump know that you want to have that FBI investigation conducted against this living Christ and prove that he is not living. You see, they have declared me to be dead in order to avoid responsibility. But I'm not dead. And any investigation will prove that. And once you prove that, the rest is also disproved. All of their lies are now in the open, and they cannot defend against it. And that will bring this government down, if that is what you want, you see. Otherwise, you have resigned yourselves to live in a living hell. Now, President Trump, is he a man of his word to make America great again? Or is he just another political blowhard? You see. Truth must be tested, and that time is now. Act before they pull the plug and watch America go down the drain and bring in a new world order, slavery, which is satanic. Have any of you noticed that the public media has not uttered a word about this living Christ and his solutions to taking back control of this country? You are the government. That's a fact. Take your position as such, and let us change our country, change our government. Start jailing all those who have brought us war, who have brought exploitation and ignored crime, just as they ignore investigating the criminal complaint sent to President Trump on his inauguration day. Who do they owe their allegiance to? To themselves or to you, the living man and woman, the taxpayer, who is the only value producer? Government doesn't produce anything. They only manage. And they manage to keep more money from you, and they demean you in the process. They weaken you until you are of no further use to them. Then they consider you to be a useless eater and develop soft kill programs to get rid of you. That is the kind of life that you lead. Why don't you face it? And why don't you realize that enough is enough? And we no longer have to spend another day in enslavement to our servants who work for us. I've given you a lot to consider, but it takes more than just consideration. When you realize that what I have told you is the truth, it's time for you to act. And only you, the people, the living man and woman, can act. You are superior to government because you created it. And as long as you don't allow them to make you doubt yourself, government has no power, no jurisdiction over you. I have proven this in the courts of Oregon. What I have done, so can each and every one of you. For there is much you do not know spiritually about yourself. And I would suggest that you begin to watch my videos and read my articles on my websites and start acting like the sovereigns that you truly are. Thank you for your time.